Hey up and welcome to Callum's Corner. I spent all day with my family today and it's been absolutely atrocious. And it's not my sister. I mean, she was there. The whole bloody family were big gathering today. But she was just low levels, sket annoying like she normally is. Today it was my cousin Tim. I haven't seen Tim in absolutely ages. When I was young, me, Greg and Tim hung around together all the time. We're like the Three Musketeers. It wasn't my choice. Like, I could take or leave Tim. Even back then it used to wind me up. But my parents used to insist on it. You know what I mean? You've got to be friends with your cousins. So he was always with us. And he became bearable because we kind of, knocked the edges off him, so to speak. We put him back in his place. He was a ridiculous liar. He was always bigging himself up, even back then. It's just, we know you're lying, Tim. Made up this lie about how he'd gone to Ibiza for a weekend and slept on the beach and just clubbed the whole time and then came home again. When he was 16 years old. He's like Jay from the bloody In-Betweeners. Anyway, nowadays he's earning really good money and he's very happy with himself about it. Do you know what I mean? I don't see that much of him. Last time I saw him, he annoyed me so much. We went to the pub and he wouldn't let me get kebab on the way home. He was like, no, we've got all this lovely food at home. And we got there and he was slicing off these fine cheeses and he wouldn't let me just get a wedge of it. It had to be sliced in this particular way so it stayed in this big triangle, sniffing it and stuff. It made me sick. Honestly, I just wanted a chicken kebab and I was having to watch this spasmoid sniff cheese. Anyway, today he got here. He came to our house first. He bought my mum 4 different gifts. He bought her a bit of jewellery, he bought her flowers, he bought her wine, and he bought her chocolates as well. Showing right off. Just pick one gift, that's enough. Anyway, we start walking down to the park because we're going to have a picnic down there and play a big family game of cricket, which we do every year. And he takes me to one side, we fall back a little bit so he can chat to me, he says. And he says, your mum's told me about what's going on with YouTube and stuff, and your sister mentioned it as well. We'd rather you didn't talk to Hermione, which is his daughter, his privately educated daughter. We'd rather you didn't mention it in front of her. I was like, oh, okay, why? Genuinely did not understand why. And he said, teenagers are very impressionable. They all talk about YouTube and they think you can make a career out of it and stuff. And I was like, well, actually, you can. I don't do it for a job, but there's people who do it full time and make a decent living out of it. And he's like, oh, no, I've researched it. He'd heard about PewDiePie, read this article about how many millions he makes every year. He said, but that's a one-off, isn't it? You're never going to make millions out of it. He must be good at it, And then he's a big jokey laugh about it. Oh, it's all a big joke, in it. I know I'm not PewDiePie, but don't take the piss out of it. Anyway, I agreed. It's his kid. I won't mention it. As well, I've got a lot of other stuff I can talk about anyway. We get down to the park, right, and he's just constantly low-level digging at me, going on about his money and stuff. At one point, when I'm chatting to my mum, he makes this big point and says, we just got to get Callum sorted now, haven't we? Big arm around my shoulder, I'm just looking at his hand, wanting to bite his finger off. I was like, what do you mean, sort me out? And he said, well, you left, proper work a few years ago, didn't you? You haven't been back in an office for a while. You can't wipe bums forever. It's I try not to get wound up, I said I do a lot more than just wipe bums, I'm a caregiver, there's an awful lot to it. And he's like, oh, no, I'm not, there's salt of the earth of people to do it, and they couldn't do it, and I think you should be paid a lot more, but, they don't, is the bottom line. And, you need to be comfortable. It's, just shut up, let me lead my own bloody life. Anyway, as we're eating, I'm tucking in pork pies, Scotch eggs. I love a picnic. Potato salad is a particular favourite of mine. I almost found myself, though, it almost got stuck in my throat halfway through lunch because he started lying again, talking about this village cricket team he plays for and how he got a quick fire century. And I know how bad he is at sports. I grew up with him, me, Greg and Tim used to play cricket every single day in the garden. We had bloody little boundaries marked out, scoring systems. I played football with him. And he's rubbish. He's a tubby little spasmoid. I'm like, no, I just could not believe he was trying to come out with this. And I was, starting to question him. And there's massive holes in his whole story. And his wife gets involved. Oh, look, Callum, if he says he got a century, just he got a century. Do you know what I mean? It's like, no, he didn't get a century. He definitely didn't. So I'm really, at this point, just looking forward to our family game of cricket. We get it all set up, and I'm starting to warm up, ready to bowl. And I'm a fearsome fast bowler. I generate a lot of pace. And as he stops me, he says, as there's some kids here, I really think we should just do underarm. Oh yeah, I bet you think that, don't you? So kids, happily, I'm bowling underarm too. But when he comes into bat, I did a couple of underarm swimming. He's just smashing them, you know what I mean, and making the most of it. 6 signs come up in the air. So I had a word to the wicketkeeper, who was my other cousin Louise's fella, a new fella. I hadn't met him before. I said, look, I'm going to put some heat on these next ones. So he went back a bit, and I just literally, it was one of the fastest, best balls I've done. Landed about 2 feet in front of him and straight up into his Gingangoolies, and he's folded like a sack of poop. Do you know what I mean? Just all gone out of him. I'm just laughing my head off, because this is stuff we used to do when we were younger. Do you know what I mean? A goodie hitting the goolies is nothing. It's just banter. And his wife's all up in the air, and my sister's jumping on the bandwagon. All that's well out of order, you know. Just banter. Everyone's having a go. Well, not everyone, you know. Half the people saw the bloody funny side of it, but the other half were just giving it all of this. Oh, I couldn't believe it. And then he recovered, and he's like got his arm around me, like, oh, I forgive him, you know, let's not spoil it, we're here all bloody week. Oh, God, that's the last thing I wanted, was him to be all bloody magnanimous. This is going to be the longest week of my life. I've had it already, and we're on day 1.